Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Staying consistent is key along the OCD recovery journey. I cannot highlight that enough because quite often I see people starting off really motivated, starting off really well, really going for it. And then they give into the short-term relief of, well, if I just do this compulsion, I'm going to feel okay, and chase that just right feeling. Chase that, well, what's the point? It's too difficult. I won't ever get better. And they go back into the short-term relief, the short-term gratification, which is a huge frustration to see. Because, and when I say that, it's not, certainly don't think it's easy. I've lived with OCD myself. I certainly get how difficult OCD is. However, if we keep giving into short-term relief, if we keep giving into short-term feelings, you are not doing your long-term self any good at all. And your future self is certainly not thanking you and is letting them down. And I'm so sorry because every time my dog grabs the toy, he was in his bed, and as soon as I open my mouth, he starts speaking. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not silly. But with short-term gratification, it's because that feeling of being triggered feels so intense. It feels very, very scary. It feels like it's going to haunt you forever. It feels like there is no way out of that. And that is why we give into the short term every time. But having that willpower to not give into that is absolutely vital. And this is where compassion and tough love play such a key part. Because if you give yourself compassion, that is when you don't like when you slip up and do a compulsion or go back to unhealthy behaviours or go back into your black and white, slip back into your rigid thinking. You have compassion and you let yourself off and you see tomorrow as a new day. However, where people often slip up with that, they say, yeah, but if I give myself too much compassion, Sam, that's not enough motivation. So I just go, oh, you know what, I'll go back into the short-term relief. I'll go back into the short-term, just right, perfect feeling. Oh, I know, the comfortable feeling. But that is when tough love says hello and plays such a big part and comes into your life. Because tough love, I don't mean drill sergeant. I don't mean ridiculously strict where you beat yourself up and defeat yourself and berate yourself and damn yourself and down yourself when you slip up. No, that's certainly not a healthy approach as well. But it's the mix of the both. They are both very key ingredients in regards to having discipline and getting better. Okay? So when you do slip up, you have compassion that you're dealing with a very, very difficult disorder, that you're dealing with a very difficult mental health disorder, a very challenging disorder, but tough love of, look, if I keep slipping up, where is this going to get me? Do I still want to do I want to be in the same boat in 5 years' time? Do I still want to make no progress in 2 years' time? Right? I had to ask myself those very brutally honest questions, because if you come on a call with me, I am very compassionate, but I'm also very tough as well, very strict, because the job here isn't to have a friendly chit chat, isn't to have a laugh and have a joke. Yes, it's nice to have that good connection, but the job is to improve your life and for you to get better and stay better as well. And that involves tough love. That involves hearing things you do not want to hear. That involves hearing some harsh realities, some truths, some hard-hitting truths. Because if I said to you, oh, you know what, mate, you give into a compulsion, so what? Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it's fine, don't worry, that's fine. You know, go back to unhealthy behaviours. I'll be a pretty crap coach and I wouldn't really be helping you. My approach is this. Look, you've slipped up. Okay, tomorrow is a new day, right? Yes, you're dealing with a very challenging mental health disorder, but we've got to be very, very strict and see tomorrow as a new day. Let's get through tomorrow, no compulsions. Let's get through tomorrow, limiting scrolling use, or let's say you're dealing with someone who's an alcoholic, for example. You wouldn't say if they were 100 days sober and they suddenly slip up and go out on a mad drinking session, you wouldn't just berate them. You wouldn't just beat them up. You wouldn't just say, how the hell could you do that? Why have you done that? Boy, you're stupid, you're foolish. That's not going to help them. Yes, you'd be very, very strict and you'd be very, very firm. But you have to be compassionate because what they're dealing with and what they're going through. And I'm talking from personal experience. I'm talking from the heart because I know exactly how that feels. I know how easy it is to give into the short term. I know that. I know how easy and how appealing and how enticing it feels to just give into that. Oh, you know what? I just want that just right feeling for now. I just want that comfortable feeling. I just want that non-triggered feeling. I just want that content, peaceful state, even though that never lasts long term. I especially used to get it when I had a big important event coming up. If I was going on holiday, on vacation, if I wanted to have a good day at work, if I wanted to enjoy something, then I'd often give in to that short term. But long term, I was doing myself more damage because yes, short term, I may have felt relatively okay, but long term, I was stealing precious time away because time is passing by. Our lives are going by. It's not to scare you. Yet again, it's another harsh reality of life. We can't put the world on hold. We can't just say, world, stop spinning whilst I get better from ACD. It doesn't work like that, okay? At times I wish the world would just sort of stop for me, or people would just not make plans whilst I get better, whilst I get myself back on track. No, the world doesn't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. It's down to us. It's down to you to be accountable for your recovery journey, for the behaviours, for the beliefs that you're still desperately clinging on to, that you're refusing to give up, that you are so reluctant to change because you're so scared of how you're going to feel in the short term. What is a week, a month, or even 6 months, or even a year of feeling very bumpy, very up and down, lots of discomfort, lots of panic, lots of anxiety, lots of guilt? What is 1 year of that? Let's use an example. 1 year, okay, maybe more, maybe less. What is 1 year of feeling like crap compared to long-term robust recovery? That's how I had to view it, because I was so scared of sacrificing the short term for long term. But I had to be very, very honest and say, look, Sam, excuse my language here, but I'm still in the same fucking boat as I was a year ago because you're refusing to change. But that is because when you give into that compulsion, it feels so scary, it feels so real, it feels so intense. When you chase that short term, it's because I just need that. I know I can't deal with it anymore. I just need rid of this feeling. I can't possibly stand it anymore. But that is when we got to show real grit and real determination to get through that. Okay? When I look back now on my journey, my biggest mistake, and I'm being very honest here, my most costly mistake that held me back for so long was reluctant and the refusal to feel short-term pain, short-term discomfort, short-term panic, anxiety, guilt. Because I thought if I just don't live in the moment now, if I don't live in the present now, then life isn't worth living. I just thought, what's the point of thinking a year in advance? What's the point of thinking 2 years in advance? So I kept giving in to the short-term trap every time. When I started resisting that, that is when the cogs started turning towards recovery. That is when the ball started rolling. That is when the momentum started building. Because, and I slipped up many times, but that shift in my mindset of, I'm going to feel like shit today, I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow, I was internally willing to feel anything. I dropped all expectation to how I was going to feel because I had an eye on the long term. Now, of course, there's a balance with that. I'm not just saying focus on recovery all day long today, because living in the now is very, very important. But if we live in the now too much, you're going to give into short-term pleasure all the time. You'd be eating a load of fatty food, you'd be drinking lots, you'd be smoking lots, you'd be chasing that high, which obviously isn't healthy, but it's in moderation. So you've got to live in the now, yes, live in the present, yes, but don't do it and completely tarnish the future, the long term, by just giving into that compulsion. Well, at least I get short-term relief. Well, at least I'm going to feel okay for now. Well, at least I get comfort now. Because that is stealing time away from you. Life is passing by. Time is going. Whilst you're giving into that compulsion today, you're stealing that long-term robust recovery away from you. Some very, very hard, brutal, honest truths and realities for you to hear, because we have to hear things we do not want to hear. We cannot underestimate how much information and how much advice we have to hear that we don't want to hear that, because we just want comfortable, oh yes, you're definitely doing well. Oh yes, if you just do this and it'll be gone. Oh yes, just do this exposure and it'll be gone. Yes, just say it's a thought and it'll be gone. No, that's too wishy-washy. We have to, for long-term change, for actual change, and for actual difference to our mental health and to overcome OCD, we have to go to the source of the problem. We have to go into the eye of the storm and see what's holding us back and do something about it. I'm going to leave you on my favourite quote, and I had to tell myself this favourite quote, and it's Albert Ellis. People get an insight into what's bothering them, but they don't do a damn thing about it. They don't do a damn thing to change, which is the most frustrating thing. It was the most frustrating thing for me looking back on my journey. But when I started to do things about it, that is when I started getting better. Short term, I felt like crap. Short term, it was a very, very difficult journey. But long term, it was so damn worth it. Think about these things. Think about the short-term relief you're still giving into today. Think about that short-term pleasure, those short-term highs that you're still chasing today, and ask yourself, is that going to help me in the long term? Is my future self thanking me? Some very important things to think about.